3 days. That is how long Anthropic's most powerful AI models lasted in the wild before the US government forced them offline globally. Fable 5 and Mythos 5 lasted only 72 hours in the wild before the intervention began. On June 9th, Anthropic launched the systems, billing Fable 5 as the most capable model they had ever released to the general public. The situation shifted on June 12th, when the Department of Commerce issued the export control directive that forced the immediate suspension. The directive explicitly targeted any foreign national, anywhere in the world, including Anthropic's own employees. To comply with a restriction that is impossible to enforce on a query-by-query basis, Anthropic had to disable the models for every customer. Access to the company's older fallback models, like Opus 4.8, remains active and unaffected. So builders who integrated Fable 5 into their workflows over that launch weekend, the lesson is clear. Access to a frontier model is now a revocable geopolitical variable. The catalyst was a contested cybersecurity jailbreak discovered by a third party. From the government's perspective, any frontier model with a bypass that touches cybersecurity is a national security risk that requires total lockdown until proven otherwise. Anthropic's account is more specific and deflationary. They characterize the bypass as a narrow, non-universal technique that simply asks the model to read a codebase and fix its flaws. Anthropic maintains that these minor vulnerabilities are already present in other public systems like GPT 5.5, which do not trigger similar lockdowns. While complying with the order, Anthropic is objecting to a commercial recall based on verbal rationales rather than a transparent statutory process. The company also points to thousands of hours of prior red teaming involving government agencies that failed to find a universal jailbreak before the systems shipped. For developers, the technical dispute is secondary to the precedent. The US government will pull a deployed commercial model in a matter of hours. We need to look at the practical implications for enterprise builders shipping products globally. AI access is now a physical supply chain risk, carrying weight far beyond simple software pricing. The foreign national dimension of this directive is the most critical variable for any organization operating outside the US. A German publisher or an international development team can find their core technology rendered illegal overnight based on the residency of their staff. Frontier models are treated legally as export-controlled, dual-use technology. Nationality and residency are primary gating factors for AI procurement, sitting alongside rate limits and cost. This creates a structural rule. Government scrutiny and intervention risk concentrate exactly where AI capability is highest. Building a hard dependency on the absolute newest, bleeding-edge model buys maximum logic capability at the cost of maximum system fragility. This chart maps the evaluation framework for modern AI architecture, plotting model capability against supply chain fragility. The suspended Fable 5 model sits in the extreme top right. You gain peak capability, but you accept maximum geopolitical risk. This second node, Opus 4.8, shows the optimal safe harbor for production. You take a slight drop in capability for a massive reduction in fragility. For developers prioritizing uptime over raw benchmark scores, this lower quadrant represents a more resilient choice. The strategy is validated by the models themselves. Opus 4.8 is the exact model Fable 5 uses for its own safety fallbacks. While an indie developer might accept the risk of the bleeding edge, an enterprise engineer must guarantee operational compliance. The most resilient production choice in this environment is frequently the tier directly below the frontier. Surviving this level of supply chain fragility requires a specific engineering response: graceful degradation. Graceful degradation ensures an application functions smoothly, even if its primary reasoning engine is severed by a government order. This AI abstraction layer puts a router between prompts and APIs. Hitting an embargo instantly redirects to a fallback like Opus 4.8. Building this middleware limits features, but acts as a mandatory shield. Hard-coding one frontier model risks total application death with zero notice. Audit your architecture for an abstraction layer, a fallback model, and geo-compliance. The AI frontier has a kill switch. Assume your smartest model vanishes tomorrow.